Band on the Run was one of those which was going to be fully a Wings album. And we had Denny Sywell and Henry McCulloch and Denny Lindrum herself. And what happened was they failed to turn up. We had a big kind of thing, and it was one of those numbers, and just they kind of said, I don't want to go to Lagos and record this album, man, sorry. And it was like I was left in the lurch the last minute. It was literally an hour before we were getting the plane to go on this trip to Africa to record. We didn't know what the hell was in store. That was my first hint of like there was something weird happening here. So we ended up there, just three of us in Lagos. And I've played a lot of stuff myself. I played the drums myself, the bass myself, a lot of guitar with Denny, did a lot of the vocals myself. And I took a lot of control on that album. So it was almost a solo album, almost. And there was a lot of other crazy circumstances. Some weird things happened while we were doing that album, like we got held up with a knife and stuff. And there were all sorts of weird inner things going on during it. It was like a real fight to make that album. So from the start, you know, the two of them didn't turn up.
So Linda and I walking along this dark street from some mate's house that we were back to our place, which was probably about 2 miles away. We thought, beautiful, Africa,
yeah,
beautiful night, starry night,
right.
Walking along. And then a car just pulls up and the window rolled down. You know, he looks at me, anyway, I said, all right, mate, how you doing? What's up? He looked at me like strange, he said, are you travellers? I went, yeah, travellers, yeah, you got it. I said, listen, mate, it's very nice of you to stop, but we don't want a lift. We're walking. That's what I thought. You know, I'm like, you know, everyone's nice.
Yeah.
He's offering us a lift. Suddenly, all the doors open and 5 young chaps get out.
And then you realise.
And there's a little squat one who's got a knife. I go, oh.
Yeah.
Ding.
You don't want to give us a lift at all.
Oh, that's what it was all along. And Linda was great. She's screaming at him. She said, leave him alone! Leave him alone! He's a musician! Like, that's going to help. Well, you know, music. He's a musician.
Leave him alone.
Leave him
It's gonna
alone.
be fine.
And we said, what do you want? What do you want? Tape, camera, tape, whatever. Oh, because the guy's got a knife, you know, he's fairly persuasive.
Sure.
So go on, you can have it,
Were you tempted then to go home?
I don't think so. We just went into the studio, told our story to the guys there, the local guy, the studio manager. And he said, you were lucky. I said, what do you mean lucky? You got mugged, you know. He said, if you had been local, you could have got killed.
But then you had to start from scratch. I mean,
So that was the thing. They took all the demo tapes along with everything else. But I remembered everything.
But then
I had lyric sheets and
Okay.
stuff. And, you know, once you've written a song, a lyric sheet's often all you need just to go, oh, yeah, that's how it goes.
When the Beatles finished, it must have been a very hard act to follow.
If there was any group that you could pick to not want to follow on a bill, it'd be something like the Beatles, probably, yeah. So it was really just a choice at the time as to whether I was going to try and attempt to sort of follow it or just give up and not be in music anymore. And the urge to sort of do music won, really. Oh, it was pretty difficult. We just went back to basics and took a little band on the road, which was Wings. And we just turned up at universities and said, do you want Paul McCartney on tomorrow?
Wings were together longer than you were together as the Beatles.
I know, that was amazing when we found that out, because I thought the Beatles were together for at least 20 years, and you look at it, it's just 10 years, and we did longer than that with Wings. But no, because we were in the shadow of the Beatles all the time, we always assumed we weren't doing well. At the end of the 10 years, we sort of broke up. We thought, well, that wasn't too good, was it? But you'd sort of look up in all the charts and stuff, and we did great. You know, even albums we thought were lousy were sort of number 8 in America and stuff.
You're a Beatle, you've had all the success. Do you think you're going to make it again?
I don't know about as successful as, it's a bit hard to be as successful as the Beatles, you know. I mean, I'm not shooting for to be as successful as the Beatles necessarily, but the main thing is I like to be in work, you know, that's the main thing for me. And if it's successful work, then that's better than unsuccessful work.
There has been
Right.
a report recently that you have said that you might get back with the Beatles. Is this true?
Well, I mean, the thing is, not really, no. The thing is that the business worries that were there are kind of gradually clearing up. So there's a possibility to do things with the Beatles and stuff, but I wouldn't think we get back together as a band.
Not going on stage together?
No, I wouldn't think so. I don't think any of us fancy it, to tell you the truth.
Do you think you've all gone your own way so much that you can't get back together musically?
Maybe, yeah, something like that.
What about the problems of you going to America and John Lennon coming out of America at the moment?
What about it?
Well, that'll stop you.
Yes, that's the problem, yeah. That's one of the problems anyway.
I can never tell about albums. Like Venus and Mars, I never really liked till I went to a party and they played it. And it was just great. It really worked and everyone was leaping up and down in the party, dancing everywhere. And I was sitting there with some music professor from some college in America and he started kind of telling me what he thought was interesting about it. And just hearing someone else's opinion rather than just either mine, the group's, or a critic, and seeing how crazy it was going down at this party changed my opinion of that album totally.
Were you shocked or surprised by the negative critical reaction?
I'm used to all that by now. Nearly everything I've ever done or been involved in has had some of that negative critical reaction. You'd think that something like She Loves You with the Beatles would be pretty positive, the reaction to that. But it wasn't. The very first week out, that was like supposed to be the worst song the Beatles had ever thought of doing. You know, I've always had that. Ram was supposed to be the worst thing ever. So the criticism goes on. With Back to the Egg, it was the same kind of thing. There was a load of kind of not very good criticism.
After the 60s were pretty high, and you know, a lot of people were getting high. So to me, it's just like a fantasy song. So say, hey girl, come on, let's get high. And now I must admit, it can get a little bit embarrassing because I got grandkids, and here's me going, yes, everybody get high. So when we do it in live, I kind of go, let's get high on life. A little bit of disclaimer there, you know. But at the time, it was just about the times and multicolored band. It's very much a period piece, but it goes down well. And one of my guys who rang me up said, hey, you know, we've got a problem. What? Oh, the BBC just banned High, they won't play it. Why not? Well, it's drug related and they're pretty straight-laced. You know, one of my 2 banned records. I can see why. I just thought, okay, I just got to go somewhere and try and write a song. And we happened to have a little pony that was called Jet on the farm. I was on a farm in Scotland. And I actually took my guitar and hiked up this great big hill. I just kind of found myself a place, which is in the middle of nature, and just sat there and just started making up a song, you know. It's not one of those songs that even when I sing it now, I don't kind of know where all the words came from. I know where Jet came from, and I like the name. The words are probably about me and my father-in-law, you know, early days of getting married, and when your father-in-law is kind of a nuisance, and you kind of, hey. So he's probably the major in it, but, you know, it's only a song, so you kind of work your things out. And that one was written halfway up a mountain in Scotland, then recorded in Nigeria, yeah.